Hey folks, thanks for joining me. In this video, I'm going to talk to you, or I'm live, so if you guys have questions, of course, we know how we do. I'm going to talk to you how I took a trip from Lisbon, Portugal to Milan, then to Lake Como, then to Switzerland for less than 700 euros. So hopefully you can find some travel hacks in this and some things that you can do and use when you're traveling. Some of these hacks aren't necessarily specifically for Italy, but hopefully you can use them all throughout. So let me just go over a quick agenda. So most of your cost savings is going to come from your transportation and your lodging. And so full disclosure, if you are watching this and you are living in the United States of America, naturally it's going to be more than 700 euros because you have to get your transportation. But once you get in Europe, the transportation for travel is substantially cheaper. In fact, I would probably recommend that once you get into Europe, just try to book the rest of your travel inside the country, because if you're using US carriers or the US versions of airlines to get places in Europe, you're not going to see some of the other low cost airlines that can exist and make it substantially cheaper. So for me, of course, if you haven't met me before, hey there, I'm Cinnamon from Washington, D.C. I'm a US immigrant who lives in Lisbon, Portugal for the past 4.5 years, right? So I'm traveling from Portugal. So that's what made my my airline costs so much cheaper. So let's just run over here to Skyscanner real quick and let me just show you something. So in Skyscanner, this is what I use to do my research. I do not purchase tickets from here. I just do my research here. I find that Skyscanner is a lot better with international airlines that you may not have even heard of if you live in the US. So Skyscanner is really, really great with that. So here, this is just example. Hey there, Shanika. Hey y'all. Hey Venus. So the thing about this, I just did this today, but my flight from, and I have notes here in case you guys are wondering what I'm looking at. So my flight from Lisbon to Milan was 136 euros and 96 cents round trip. Now, I didn't do something right. I should have booked my ticket in advance. But this was, if my friend Shirley is watching this later, Shirley was going to Milan and we were chatting. And I was like, Shirley, you mind if I hop on this trip, right? So I got my ticket pretty much a couple days, if not a week in advance. So that's why my ticket was $136. But if you can see here, I took EasyJet. And right here, you see EasyJet flight is 73 euros. So within Europe, if you can do things in advance, it's pretty easy to find some tickets that are round trip for less than $100. You do want to stay away from holidays and things like that. And for context, I took this trip in January, the first week in January. So for me to travel the way that I do, I usually travel between the months of October through March. I typically do not really travel during the summer because the prices are ridiculous. The crowds are crazy. So during the summer is usually when I go back to the States to visit family, right? So this is EasyJet. Now, again, my ticket was a little bit more expensive. It was 136 euros, right? I took the 10 a.m. flight from Lisbon and I arrived in Milan at 12:15 p.m. So here's one of the other things just with flights and trains you'll find. If you take the first flight out, typically that flight is going to be cheaper than the rest of the flights. And if you happen to have to travel during the summer, take the first flight out. Just get up early, take the flight out, especially if you have to deal with weather, because one bad storm can wipe out the rest of the flights for the rest of the day, right? But typically when you go to an airline, to the airport in the morning, the plane that's supposed to, the first plane out is usually there at the airport, right? So you can usually get that first flight out. But when they need to bring in the other flights, have to come from other places, they can cancel the whole situation. And then you and your money and all that other stuff is done. Also, if you miss a flight with a lot of these low cost carriers, they don't book you for free. So keep that in mind as well. So that's Skyscanner. Okay, so packing clothes, right? This is another way to kind of save. So these prices, like here on Skyscanner, do not include luggage. It does not include luggage. So in order to travel cheaply as well, Look, get that backpack one carry-on. I'm telling you, it will change your life. And if you're the person who's saying, I gotta have like 900 suitcases, okay, I get it. I used to be that woman, but you will get savings. You can move and shake real quick. If anything happens, if flights get canceled, if something's delayed and you gotta go to the whole other side of the airport, you're gonna be really happy that you pack lightly, right? So here, this is just a simple, and you guys may have seen this before. I did a packing video on like 30 days in a carry-on years ago. If you want me to update that, I can, but it's pretty much the same thing. So this is like, I have the leggings around the perimeter of the bag, and this is just a packing cube. And then I pack everything in the middle. So those are leggings, because again, this was in January, that are furry inside. And so I try to travel with leggings because it's super easy to just kind of roll up and put it in the bag and do what you have to do. The backpack I'm using is the Osprey 46, Porter 46. It's a cool bag, but they have a new one, and I feel like I want to try it, but I'll let y'all know how that goes. So that's the packing clothes. If you bring a life of a backpack, one carry-on, your packing life is going to be substantially cheaper. So of course, after packed clothes, went to Lisbon to Milan, and I did that for the flight on EasyJet Airlines. Now this is just some of the pictures. If you can see the Swiss Alps like up in the corner, I just thought that was so beautiful, so I wanted to share that. Okay. So from the, from the airport in Milan, hey there, Diane, you take a train. So here's a couple mistakes I made. So usually when I travel, I get the SIM card of the country that I am in. And the thing with Italy, so Portugal has a Vodafone of a SIM card of all of Europe, right? Anywhere in Europe, you can use Vodafone. And it's about $30. When I got to Italy's airport and tried to buy a SIM card, it was like 60 some odd dollars, which was crazy. So I should have purchased it in Portugal, but I didn't know that until I got there. So don't make that mistake. If you want to pay the $10 to $15 a day for your US cell phone, you very well can. I just find my signal is a lot stronger when I'm using a SIM card from the country I'm in, right? So the SIM card was overpriced. I did not include that in the 700 euros because that was my mistake. I didn't, just don't do that. Don't buy the SIM card in Italy, get it somewhere else. Okay, so the train. When you get to the airport, you can take a train. Now, another mistake I made. I Googled, were there Ubers in Italy? And something said yes, and I just rolled with it. I didn't do any further research to see how do I get from the airport to downtown central Milan, because I think I was out of practice. I think this was my first trip right after the global shutdown, right? So I get there and realize that although Italy has Uber, they more so have Uber Black, and it's pricey, and it's typically only in Milan and Rome. So from the airport, I was not able to take a Uber, which is fine. So I had to just take the train, and I just didn't know, but it's cool. This train, it's nice, spacious, great, and it's about 10 euros to get there, right? So that's just your heads up on that. Just take the train from there. Now for accommodations, we're going to go here to booking.com. So Booking is one of the websites, and if you heard me on Instagram lately, I've been complaining on how expensive Airbnb has become. So I've been using Booking exclusively, but I want to show you this because look at the top where it has Milan City Central. The center of Milan, of course, is where you can take the train to go practically anywhere in Europe. They just have an amazing train system that just takes you wherever, right? So if you get a hotel or, if you get a hotel in the city and just anything close to the city center and it's about 10-minute walk, you're really in a good situation. So I just did this morning. It's October 11th. I'm just going to show you some of the prices. But like right here is probably equivalent. And I'm going to show you what my hotel room looked like. So I look for reviews. If you can see the reviews on this side, like a 8.0 and higher is usually what I look for. And so in this case, it's not anything luxurious, right? But I'm doing a lot of day trips. So all I need is something clean, and have a refrigerator because I usually pack food and just comfortable enough so that I can, and quiet enough so I can go to sleep and go on my day trips, right? But if you look at this, here are some examples. This one's 476 in euros, and it's 8.7, good reviews. All of these are in the city. So please keep that in mind. Now, most of these are 3-star hotels. I specifically look for 3-star hotels. Now, the hotel I stayed in, my homegirl Shirley had already booked her stuff, and I didn't even know about that hotel. I just booked a room where she stayed, right? But if you look at 3-star hotels, and if you live in the U.S. or you're from the U.S., I know what you're thinking. Like, 3-star hotel, I am not trying to get murdered today. Like, I get it, right? I get it. But outside of the U.S., the 3-star hotels can really give you like a good look. So all I'm saying, don't sleep on the hotels. The prices are really, really great. And like, look at this one, brand new apartment. This one's 9.5 reviews, 556 reviews, and it's 539 euros for 4 nights. Like, you can't beat that, right? I have notes over here. Did I put? Yeah. So I stayed by Milan Central Station. I paid 310 euros for 5 nights and 4 nights, 5 days. Okay. So that's what I paid. But you can go here. When I come to booking, I specifically look for 3-star hotels in the center of whatever country I'm staying in. I didn't close my window. I'm sorry if you heard that random noise. So I look for 3-star hotels because I'm going to take day trips. If I'm looking for luxuriousness, then I'll get out of the 3-star. But if you're going to do day trips, they're not bad. So please don't sleep on it. So that's booking, right? Okay. Now here's inside of the hotel room that I stayed in. It was clean, small, nothing big, nothing fancy. It had a refrigerator, and it was about 7 minutes away from the train station, right? So it was perfect for me. So just wanted to show you what that looks like on the inside, right? Okay, so again, here's some of the travel things that make things a little bit cheaper. So I took the train out for my day trips on all of the locations, right? And I tend to pack food. The first day that I was in Milan, I arrived like at 12:15-ish p.m. So I get from the airport, I'm going to the grocery store, picking up things, just seeing where stuff is, right? But this is, am I showing you? Let me show you the train system in Milan, or in Italy rather. So there were 2 particular ones that I tend to take. So this was the first one actually. Did I do that right? Am I covering up some? Okay, yeah. So this is Trenord, and Trenord tend to have the better prices. I mean, they were really good on prices. This is the train that I feel like I took from the airport, but I'm not sure. There's just one company that will take you from the airport, and like I said, that's about 10 euros. But with Trenord, we took this to Lake Como, right? Yeah, and it was $7 first class, which I'll show you some video of what that looks like, and it was $5 for coach. It was very nice, very clean, and you couldn't beat the price. It was about a 30, did I put in my notes? It's about a 35-minute train ride from Milan city center to Lake Como. But if you purchase your tickets from the companies that are inside of Italy versus these third-party websites, then of course, if anything happens, you'll be able to change it, and they're going to be cheaper because they don't have like a ticket upcharge on it. So whether you're in Italy or any country, make sure that look at the domain in the top of here, and you see how it ends in .it. Some of the other websites, there are sometimes U.S. companies or from the U.S. or wherever, they do .com, which means it's not of that country, which means you will get charged a little bit more because there's a ticket upsell. So whenever possible, try to book your tickets for entertainment or for transportation on companies that are in the country in which you're going to. So these were 2 of the train lines that I used. So there we go. All right. So that's what I packed for dinner. All right. Hey there, Donna. What's going on, Donna? Okay, so this is the double-decker bus, right? And you all have seen this everywhere, right? Now, the cool thing about the double-decker bus, one of the things, actually one of my homegirls, she uses it for this reason, and I thought it was actually quite brilliant. But when she's traveling alone, she gets on these buses so she can learn kind of like the layout of the city. And so when she's walking later, certain things look familiar to her and she feels a little bit more comfortable knowing where she is, which is cool. I never even thought to use it that way. One of the ways you can use it is that usually these tickets to these double deckers are like 25 bucks and they are hop on, hop off. And they go to most of the tourist locations in that city. So you don't have to pay all these different prices for transportation, whether you're doing private cars, whether you're doing the subway or what have you. You can literally use the double decker and you can jump off, parlay where you want to be, get a little lunch, and then hop back on and go to other tourist spots. So on day two of being in Milan, this is what me and my homegirl did. We did the double decker. We jumped to a bunch of different places. We went to the canal. We went to the cathedral, did all that stuff. And the price for that was 25 euros. I don't know if I did it in USD or euros actually, but it took you all over the touristy places for that one price. And as you can see, it was pretty empty. And granted, I went, the first week in January, so it wasn't that many people. If you do it another time, then you might not have that same experience. But don't sleep on the double-decker bus, particularly as it relates to your transportation costs to go to a lot of the touristy areas. And then you get to learn about the country you're in and the history. So don't sleep on it, right? Okay, so this was the Duomo Terrace, and this was just gorgeous. If you have any opportunity to see it, it's exquisite. It's so intricate, and it was under construction or maintenance when we went, but it was beautiful. We did the top floor terrace that doesn't give you access to other parts of the building, of the cathedral. Why can't I think, right? So if you want to go to the part where you're inside the cathedral, that is another price. But I want to show you really quickly how to get your tickets there. So this is another example that when you get your tickets from a company inside of the country, in this case, this is Italy. See up here in the domain, it has .it. Like you can see other stuff on the website like TripAdvisor, whatever, where you can book your tickets, but they're going to be more expensive because they have to do an upcharge. So here's just, I think I included this link on the website for those of you who are interested in doing the core tours and stuff. I'm not affiliated with it. This is just, some of the examples in the purchase. You can see they're very, very reasonable. Here you have 13, 10 euros. And other places you may see it be like maybe 20, 25 because there's an upcharge. But here, if you go to the tourism website of the country you're in, the tickets are so, so reasonable. So please look into that. All right, so doing the remote. Okay, so before any questions so far, are we good? Are we good? Okay, so let me just talk about Lake Como. So from Milan, I went to Lake Como, Italy, and this was probably of the trips I've done this year, was probably my favorite actually. So this is inside, I just stopped at a weird place. This is inside the train that I was just referring to. So this is first class, which was a $7 €7 ticket. And then coach is €5. We took the first train out, which is why no one is on it. We took the first train out and it was wonderful. So let me just show you, what else do I have on this video? Let me see. Yeah, so Lake Como is just gorgeous. So this was the restaurant that we ate at. And I'll share with you the name of that in a second. What else? Is that all that's on here? Okay, cool. So the thing is, with Lake Como, there is a funicular. And the funicular is, how much is that? It is $6 round trip and $3 one way. So right here is where, on the left-hand side, that is the view going up the funicular. And then in the middle, this is the sunrise. And if you look really closely, like you can see the Swiss Alps in the back. It was just so beautiful. And then, of course, the other one is the restaurant. So the great thing about Lake Como is it is exquisite. Like, pictures do not do it justice. It is beautiful. Like, when we did the sunrise and was over up high looking at the sunrise, it was gorgeous. Like, it almost brought tears to my eyes. It was so beautiful. And for the fellow introverts, if you don't want to deal with people and crowds, we got there. I think we took like the 6 o'clock train ride, and got there maybe around 7 something. Nothing was even open except for the funicular. So we went to the top, we watched the sunrise, and then I found a hotel that I cannot remember the name of to just kind of hang out for a bit while everything opened. So in Lake Como, the couple things that I did there were walk to the lighthouse. The lighthouse is about a 35-minute walk. That's what they tell you. That's what they keep saying. But it's swear you walking directly up to heaven and meet Jesus, because it is so, it's high up. It's a lighthouse, right? So it's at the top part, and it takes forever. But it was beautiful once you get up there. So if you feel like walking straight uphill for 35 minutes, I would definitely recommend to go check out the lighthouse. You're going to have to take the funicular first and then walk up there, right? So I think that's all I have on that. So the place to eat, let's talk about the food. The place to eat is, I don't know how to say this name correctly, okay? That's the name of it. I don't want to butcher it. I don't want to mess that up already, but that's the name of the restaurant. And this restaurant was so good. And it had that beautiful view that you've seen in my pictures. So what I had was this like blueberry tagliatelle. And I know that sounds like what? But it was so good. And it didn't like taste like heavily blueberry-y. It was just like a slight hint. And then it had this cream sauce that had like hints of truffle, and like, I still think about them. I still think about that meal right now, right? I'm not drooling. And then my homegirl Shirley, she had the polenta, and it had like a stewed meat with various vegetables. It was super savory. They served warm wine, because I told you this was the first week in January. It wasn't super cold, but, you know, a little warm wine can help you out. So we went here after doing the lighthouse. And after walking to that lighthouse, I deserved all the wines, all the glasses of hot wine is what I deserved, right? So did that. By this time, it's maybe 1:30-ish or so. We took the funicular back down and headed back to Milan to decompress and get dinner back in Milan. So that is what we did for that day. So after that, go to Milan, because of course Milan is where you can get the reasonable accommodations, because then we go to Lugano, Switzerland. So I have been trying to get to Switzerland for a minute, and I had avoided Switzerland because I kept hearing how expensive it is. So here's one of the things that I want to remind people who are coming from the US to, whether it be Europe or some other part close to Europe, just please check the currency, because Switzerland to put you out here and you didn't know what happened, right? Because of course they're on the francs. The francs are typically worth more than the euros, right? And euros are typically worth more than USD. So usually, like when I traveled before I moved to Europe, I was hanging out more so in like the Caribbean, South America, Central America. So I never really had to check currency because the USD was always kind of worth more. But when you come on this side, that's not the case, right? So when you making your reservations and you're doing your things and trying to make sure you stay in budget, just remember that, particularly with Switzerland. So there were a couple mistakes I made in Switzerland. One was that I purchased an Italian SIM card and forgot that I was going to Switzerland. So naturally, I did not have data. And when we got there early, because we usually take the first trains out. And so I went to McDonald's. And for those of you who don't know, if you go to McDonald's in any country, usually it has free Wi-Fi. So that's just a fun fact, right? So I went to McDonald's so that I can get some Wi-Fi and get some data. But Switzerland is real serious about their data. Even in Wi-Fi, it was like, listen, you got to get a text message or we got to send you an email before you can connect to the McDonald's Wi-Fi. And I'm like, if I had data, how am I going to do that without data? So I didn't do that right. And luckily I was with my homegirl Shirley and she had data. And so that's how we worked it out. So here's the thing. Lugano was a bit of a bust. Not because Lugano did anything. It's just the weather did not cooperate with us. And sometimes that just happens in travel and you just got to roll with it. But I had such an amazing time in Lake Como that I wasn't even mad. So with Lugano, it's a lot of chocolate. If you look on the far right, like that's what the weather ended up looking like for the whole day, right? So didn't do much. We planned to do a boat ride and that type of thing, but couldn't do it because the weather just didn't cooperate. So we stayed around for a little bit, hoping that maybe the fog would burn off, but it didn't. So Lugano was a bit of a bust, but I did it. And so if you have questions about that, I don't know what to tell you on that one because it wasn't much going on. So I can take some questions now for those of you who have questions if you're here with me live about your travels, and then we can wrap it up. Okay, so hey there, Venus. The life that... Hey, Erica. Ciao from Portugal. Hey, Erica, you in Portugal? Dope. Promise I'm not... Erica, you funny. I love it. Okay. Hey, Diane. The idea popped into my head a few weeks ago to treat myself to a trip. Okay. Hold on. Let's talk about that. So the idea popped in my head a few weeks back to treat myself to a trip. Yes. Okay. Did you go already? You didn't go. Okay. You didn't go. So those sound beautiful. So please let me know how they are. And definitely for taking the train. Please, the train is wonderful. It was actually this trip that made me become obsessed with trains, that now every time I travel somewhere, I need to know if there's a train because that's the way I want to do it. The great thing about the trains, they're very cost effective and you don't have to worry about going through the security that you got to go through when you go through flying, right? So if you have any, like, you know how you can't have liquids and they got to be doing like just the most. You don't have to do that with a train. You just get on, put your stuff by you and leave. Like, it's the best thing. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So yes, I still can't get the whole packing cube thing mastered. Okay, Diane, I will do an updated one if that'll help folks. But here's the other thing about the packing cubes that I found to be helpful. Cause like I told you, I used to be the girl who sat here and brought all this stuff on a trip unnecessarily. Sometimes you'll pack and you'll say, oh, I might wear this. Oh, this will be cool. I might wear that. Like, don't do that. Like, look at how many days you're going to be in a location. Think about the activities you're going to do and base your outfit based on that. And then a couple extras. Because if you think about things that you could need, you'll find out you ain't really need them. And you have all this extra weight. And now you got to check bags and do the most. And from traveling so much and having bags lost or whatever, it just became important that I could just, put something on and roll out. Not to mention, if you're doing a lot of solo travel, in my opinion, it's safer, right? Because not if you get one of them big, bright color travel backpacks and you out here looking like you got a whole body on your back. Not those, but if you, got a little discreet situation, it seems to be safer because you're not screaming to everybody that you're a tourist. You're not lugging around this loud, rolly thing on the cobblestone, making all this noise, screaming at everybody watching that you don't live there, right? So with the backpack, mine is black, so it's even more like I'm just, going about my business. So consider it. It's a great look. Okay. All right. So let's see. Greetings from New York. Hey there, New York. Hey, Donna. Are you covering the area of Italy that I love? Was there this summer? I guess. Are we talking about Lake Como? So that's my spot. So it's beautiful. Please go if you have the opportunity. And if you can go on the off season, you can really appreciate how beautiful the place is because it's not going to be a ton of people. It's not overwhelming. It's beautiful. By the time we left Lake Como, which was like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it was a line around the block to get on the funicular, right? And so, like y'all know, I'm an introvert. I don't do crowds. So if I would have just seen that at 1 something in the afternoon trying to get up there, I would have gave up. I'm like, I'm ready to go home. I don't want to do this, right? But because of it in the morning, nobody was out. You can hear the birds chirping, and it's just exquisite. Okay, all right. Let's see. Hey there, Jill. Great information. My husband and I are planning to visit. Thank you so much. I hope it's helpful, guys. I can only tell you what I've done, but I don't do too much. I like staring at nature. So, but the train is probably the best bet. Take the first flight out. Look at your 3-star hotels. Please don't sleep on the 3-star hotels. They're really nice, particularly if you're doing day trips. And they're so affordable for like a week. You just don't have to, hurt the bank. Okay, Venus, where do you suggest country for a starting point for the U.S.? Ugh. Oh, Venus, that's a really good question. Honestly, I probably would say Spain because Spain has relatively good prices out of Miami. So Miami to Spain, they usually have flights pretty often and they're reasonable. And then now that you're in Spain and you're in Europe, you can pretty much low cost carrier it. You can use low cost carriers the rest of the trip, right? So I don't know that to be true. I mean, not know that to be true, but I haven't done it a lot because I haven't. When I came to Europe, most times I probably paid too much money. Actually, I probably went to London first or something crazy. London is expensive. But now that I know that there are more flights from Miami to Spain, I would probably say check into Spain first, whether it be Madrid or Barcelona. Check that first and then look at the tickets outside of there. Google Flights is not, in my opinion, not that great for international flights. It's really good for local flights in the US, but I don't really find it that great for international flights. Okay. All right. Is that done? Okay. Any more questions, guys? If not, hey there from Bermuda. I love Bermuda. It's so beautiful. Thanks for joining us. Okay. Just got back from Italy a couple of days ago and didn't go to Lake Como. Oh, what other parts of Italy did you like? I really didn't go to that many parts of Italy yet. Have I? No, not really. I plan to do more Europe now that I'm closer to it. But if you go back, I mean, I'm biased. I feel like Como is great. But I will be doing some more probably this year toward the latter part. So I will keep you posted, Shanika. I always wanted to travel to Italy. Yes. Just okay. Oh, that's a good one. Erica talking about these hair products. Okay, but how do we travel with necessary hair products without checking our bag? Those 3-ounce bottles won't get me through one wash. I agree. Listen, that is true. And you gonna have, that's why, sisters, we get braids when we finna roll out, or we'll get a little wig or something, you know what I mean? Like, just cause you right. You ain't gonna have enough products to get on that 3-ounce. Now, if you go to a part of Europe that has other people with textured hair, like London has a good natural hair situation. So if you start in London, you can get your products there and train it the rest around. Because like I said, if you do the trains, nobody cares about your liquid situation. But when you have to do some flights, it is a lot. I usually will style my hair in a way that something protective, stylish, that I won't have to keep messing with it. And I don't really want to mess with hair when I'm traveling, to be perfectly honest with you. But very good question, and you are correct. Your 3-ounce, your hair will eat it up. I know what you're saying. It's not enough. So I get it. Okay, so how long was the train ride to Switzerland? Great question. It was about an hour. To Lugano specifically. So guys, when you are traveling to any particular location in Italy, just pull it up on a map too, because you can see other little areas that you might think, oh dang, I didn't even think about that location. Maybe I should check it out, because that's how Lugano happened. My homegirl Shirley was like, I'm going to Milan. And I was like, oh, that's dope. So pulled up a map and we're seeing what other countries and cities were close. And I was like, oh, okay, so I could probably do some day trips here and there. And so when I met up with her, I was like, listen, not trying to change your whole travel situation, but you down to do some day trips? And Shirley's the best, so she was down. And so we did the day trips to those different places. One thing I do also want to tell you about the train. So when you're in Italy, they don't list all of the stops. So there's a big LED board with all of the departures that are coming out and the time in which they leave. So when you purchase your ticket, just remember what time it is, because you'll get there and you know your destination or where you need to get off. And those of you, if you are caring where the station was, did I put that up there? Okay, so let me do a screen share real quick. So this is Milano Centrale, which is the center city of the train station. And if you see that Como S, that is where Lake Como is. So there's a couple stops you can get off. But for this particular train company, this was the stop that I took to get off at Lake Como. So I just wanted to tell you that really quickly. So when you look at the board, and I think both of us are relatively travel savvy, but when it was trying to find the train for the track that we needed to get on, I don't feel like that was as easy as it could have been, right? So I had to go to customer service and I was asking what train track is the train going to be located on. And me just saying the destination, she wasn't able to find it that way, which I thought was interesting. She based it on what time the train left. So we left early in the morning. It was like 6 o'clock or whatever. So it was at 6:23, if I remember correctly. And that is how she was able to pick up the train. She says, this is the train you're going to get on, and this is the track that it's on. So get there early, folks. If you have never taken the trains in any particular country, just get there early so you can talk to some people. And if you're taking the first train out, fun fact, a lot of the places aren't even open yet. So yeah, but we made it work, and just know that part. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, haven't booked my trip yet. I visited over 15 Swiss cities. Italy, I'll be a broad new country to explore, so looking forward to it. I live in Portugal too. Oh, hey. Okay, awesome. Yes, I love it. Listen, and I hope you're liking Portugal. Okay, so yeah. So you can also take EasyJet, get right up in Italy every day for like something crazy cheap. So definitely check that out. Visited DC this past weekend. Didn't realize the term "I appreciate you" was a DC thing. Is it really a DC thing? I've only heard it said from you, so it made me smile. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is so funny. I did not know it was just a DC thing. That's so crazy. That's hilarious. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay. Hey there, James. Thank you so much. You're so kind. Good morning. Great. Hey there, Lucille. Would it be better to go to Portugal? Okay. So would it be better to go to Portugal and then catch the train? So, okay. So let me clarify that, folks. Taking the train in Portugal to go to other parts of Europe is like not what you, I don't say not what you want to do. It's difficult. So, at the end, Portugal's at like the coast, like at the end, right? And then you literally have to go through Spain on land to get to Portugal, right? So Portugal's train and Spain's train, they claim they're going to do this whole train situation. They say you could take a train from Spain to Portugal, but you got to buy it on the Spain side. Like it's just a lot. Taking the train inside of Portugal, doing the Portuguese thing is cool, but trying to get out into the rest of the part of Europe on the train side, I haven't found it to be that easy. So what I would recommend is just fly. Oh, this is Steph. I know that's you, Steph. Hey, honey. Yeah, so just take the flight out of Portugal to any other part of Europe. Rome and Milan are great areas to get trains to practically anywhere in Europe. So think of that. Even going to France and actually Spain a little bit easier. But Portugal on the train side is still struggling a little bit. So if you happen to be coming to Portugal and the flight is cheaper from the States to Portugal, by all means, rock with it, right? But if the flight may be cheaper going through Spain or France, so that you could pull that off as well. So yeah, check out, just play around with the prices. If US to Milan, and again, guys, this depends on what time of the year you're going. Most of the reasons why I travel so much off season is because it is cheaper. So if you're doing it off season, the prices should be cheaper. But yeah, just check the prices. Just check the prices on that. And good to see you, Steph. Okay. Yes, your hair will eat up 3 ounces okay. Emirates. Okay, great. We got some advice here. Emirates advice has great flight deals to Milan, which once in Italy, trains run all the way through Italy. It's like an Amtrak, like Como. It's like Venice, and they have water taxis. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that tip. Appreciate you. Okay. All right. So I think she said, yeah, I just confirmed it with my DC friend. That is hilarious. I had no idea. And Steph is from DC too. So Steph, do you know that that's something that we just say in DC is I appreciate you. Um, anyway, if we don't have any more questions, thank you all so much for joining me during this. And for those of you fellow entrepreneurs, I'm still training on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come through and I will see you then. And I think that's it. No more questions? All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. And if you have any questions, just throw them in the comments. And I'll try to do some more type of travel stuff coming up because I have a lot of travel that I have done that I hadn't. Thank you for being patient with me. I haven't had the time to put that up, and hopefully that it can help a little bit. Okay, what research search engine is best for international flights? Venus just asked this question really quickly. I find Skyscanner to be the best. Do not purchase your ticket from Skyscanner. You can go directly to the airline, but it aggregates all of the information to make it more helpful. Stuff says, yeah, that's a DC thing. It's a DC thing for sure. People look at me like I'm crazy when I say it in LA. What? That is so crazy. I did not know that was a DC thing. Okay, all right. Good to know. You learn something every day. All right. Okay, guys. So it was a pleasure. I hope this was helpful. I hope this can help you in your travel endeavors. And until next time, I'll see you again later.